This is the car, this is the track, and this is me trying to come up with an original thought. Come on, buddy, you can do it. No. Hey guys, welcome to a new video where you're gonna learn that, hey, I don't just crash Mazdas, okay? I can crash any car that I want, and today it's going to be LMP3s because there's high participation, great softs, multi-class, long races, high skill ceiling, no ABS shenanigans, and the cars can actually race. But we've got two problems. Problem one is that this is the last time I drove the car, and problem two is I've never driven at Portimao. So we start putting in some laps, and it's a really fun, fast, flowing track with some hard stops, and oh god, I'm over a second off the fucking pace after
64
laps. A few hours of staring at data and I figured out exactly where I was losing time in this car. And if you struggle with the LMP3 as well, keep watching as I'll be sharing what I learned as we get into the race. Rolling start on race 1, it's an absolutely stacked 4.9k soft grid. I've managed to nail quali with my fastest lap so far, putting me P4. And if we zoom out and take an aerial view of this grid, you'll see a lot of the same paints. These are all my teammates and the only real reason that I found pace this week. Especially Tom and Dario, who both won the championship in this car last season. And Dario has a pretty interesting race, so we'll definitely keep an eye on him. There's empty racetrack ahead of me, but it's quickly blocked off by Matteo. I'm boxed in with nowhere to go, but Matteo has to defend the inside from Dario, and we get some clear space ahead of us. Braking late and deep into turn 1, we go around the outside of Dario and we're up a position. For me, this was all I could hope for from turn 1. Just need to slot in, follow Matteo, and not make any mistakes. Especially when the car's heavy and your tires are cold. Lap 1 round here, if you make a mistake, you go too fast into a corner, you can lose way more than you'd gain by being on the edge. And speaking of mistakes, Matteo is about to make one. Carrying too much speed into turns 8 and 9, the 3D Cubs just unsettle the car as he asks for a bit too much from the cold tires, and he completely missed the apex. This is enough for us to tuck up underneath him and stay close for the rest of the lap. I'm not looking to make a move, I just want to stay as close as possible. You might be asking, why do you not want to overtake? Well, this brings me on to my first tip for LMP3. Know your downforce package. It's not super obvious between our two cars, but if we take a closer look at Matteo's front dive plane, we can see it looks nothing like ours. That's because he's on the high downforce package and we're not. So as long as we stay close, keeping our nose out of the dirty air, I can breeze past on the front straight, almost like I have DRS. So next time you're on that never-ending Road America pace lap, have a look around at what setup choices your competitors have made. It might change the way you have to battle them. Once we get past Matteo, it's a fairly boring race for us, just gaining confidence and pushing for faster and faster lap times. But you know who didn't have a boring race? Well, you know what, let's pass to our man on the ground to introduce him.
Brazil's got the gloves on and shit too, holy fuck.
Thanks, man. Anyway, back to the start. Let's see how they got on. It's a mediocre launch from Dario, but he's able to hold pretty much everyone over to the outside. And you can see him thinking about the free wide into turn 1, but I'm so glad that he didn't. But unfortunately, that means that I'm going to shuffle him wide into turn 2, and then they're going to be side by side for the next couple of corners. So all things considered, not an ideal start, but anyway. Dario has the inside for turn 4, which will become the outside for turn 5. And Yentl just hangs a nose in there, giving Dario damage. Now I want to stand up for my teammate here, but I may or may not do the exact same thing in the next race, so you're on your own, mate. Anyway, they're still too wide, down towards whatever turn this is, the hairpin. And Yentl's on the inside, but that's not always exactly where you want to be. He gets some wheel spin and Dario's ahead. And there's some weird shit going on behind them as Leo makes his way from last up to P6. Anyway, Dario's ahead for now, but that damage is just going to keep eating away at his race. Further around the lap and Yentl's chasing Dario down and just kind of hits him, I think, in the back. Gives him a little tap and then flashes him, and that didn't make Dario very happy. And I absolutely don't blame him because that damage just got even worse, as we'll see in the next corner. Now on board with Dario through the full throttle final corner, he gets a huge snap up oversteer.
Mate, can you stop hitting me instead of flashing me? Thank you.
immediately moving over to the right hand side, showing that he's gonna defend the position. But honestly, there is space there, and it's kind of surprising that Yentl didn't commit harder to the inside. It's near impossible to go around the outside, so Yentl just slots in behind. And for me, the dark horse of this race is Leo. He's got insane pace and is clearly eager to join the fight, but makes a slightly embarrassing mistake at the hairpin when trying to fake a move on Yentl. He jinks the inside, then back to the racing line, then realizes he's not going to get the car stopped and heads for the runoff, narrowly avoiding the gravel, almost killing Duncan with a wild rejoin. Despite pretty extensive damage to Dario's car, his pace is stronger than mine and Matteo's, slowly closing down the gap, but it's only a matter of time before the next attack from Yentl. Braking into turn 1 and Yentl's right on him, very close through 1, 2 and 3. And you can just see the move coming, boom, big dive up the inside, making contact as he goes through. Dario tries for the old switcheroo, but it's not going to work. And with some more contact and another overtake, you just know one thing, this has pissed off Dario. Jumping forward another lap, and Yentl is within half a second of Matteo. But unfortunately for him, his race is about to take another turn. Generally, these tyres get faster and faster over a race distance, but you can spike the temperatures, and that's what Yentl is about to do through 9. Hopping over the curb and unsettling the car a little bit incites some oversteer. There's not much time for them to cool down as the ultra tricky 11 and 12 are fast approaching. And as he asks for more of the rear tyres, they say no, and Yentl does a big 7k slide, giving Dario exactly what he wanted.
Like and subscribe if you think this ends in lobotomy.
Dario has great momentum and overlap, slightly ahead as we enter the braking zone. To the left, he wants to hold it around the outside, but Yentl just forces him wide, easing off the brakes Verstappen style. Both are scrappy on exit, but the favour is returned aggressively. And Yentl does a good job of anticipating this, going up and under, but losing that advantage that he gained from the previous corner. Now with good traction on exit, Dario can continue the attack. And look, I know these guys don't like each other very much right now, but I hope this shows to you how cool these battles can be. Yentl moves across to defend, but you're going to have to try harder than that to stop the angry Italian. He's alongside and has the inside for turn 1. Yentl wants to squeeze him, but Dario's having none of it, and hard on the brakes, and Dario once again has the position. And this next bit I definitely want your opinion on. Kick of oversteer through 2, and Yentl sees a gap that was always going to close. Both drivers crash out, and we get a crazy 360 no-scope from Yentl on Jonas.
Enemy spotted.
Obviously there's a good deal of netcode involved, and I'm mega biased to my teammate, but I'm really curious on what you guys think of this incident.
Chat, what rating are these guys, by the way? 5,000? 5,000?
But while all of this was going on, I was putting the theory into practice and understanding where the pace was in this car and this track. So let's jump into some lessons. Now this video has been a little bit unfocused so far because I didn't want to make a strict coaching video. You got people like Get Good Racing who are great at that, but I do want to give you some pieces of advice for this car because I think it's fantastic and I really want people to drive it. And although the schedule's moved on by the time you're watching this, I still want to take a moment to walk through exactly what helped me go fast here. This isn't like a lap guide, but it's more about the repeatable techniques that worked at Portimao and will help you find pace in this car anywhere. A good way to think about it is that first half of the video was about how to battle and knowing your opponent, knowing your car setup versus them. This part of the video is about how to extract ultimate lap time. Now in that lower speed stuff, I'm talking turn 1, turn 4, turn 6, you can employ a bit of a V-shaped racing line, aiming more at the apex while braking, using more steering angle, which you'll see me do into turn 4. I just want to spend less time actually in the corner, and I saw Tom and Dario doing this without losing time, so decided to try it and found green sectors. And a quick side note on this, because it annoys me, is that people in F1 always talk about, oh, Oscar Piastri has a V-shaped driving style. Oh, Lando Norris has a U-shaped driving style. I think that's bullshit. I think you drive to the corner. What the corner requires from you, what the car requires from you, that's what you do. And in this case, it's a V-shape. In later corners, it's a U-shape. It's bullshit. but you can't let that low mechanical grip fool you into thinking that there's low grip overall. I was compromising the exit of 4 to take a wider line into 5 because I thought that there wasn't grip there. This was a really hard habit to shake, and you can even see me doing it here on my fastest lap. I don't need to, and what I'm actually doing is just making the track longer for myself. A really clear illustration of how this loses you time is if we just take a quick look back at the Dario Yentl battle, where Dario gets overtaken, then wants to fight back with the old switcheroo, but he opens up turn 5 way too much, and by the time he's at the exit, Yentl's gone. Next up is braking, and this surprised me because it really isn't as important as I thought. When I first started looking at Tom's telemetry and comparing it to mine, I was super confused. His braking points were almost identical to mine, sometimes even earlier, and yet I was still a second off the pace. What I realized is that I was focusing way too much on where I was braking rather than what came after. In the LMP3, the coasting phase, that moment between braking and getting back on the throttle, it's everything. At corners like 11 and 12, once I stopped obsessing over braking points and instead focused on where I wanted to start that coasting phase, I immediately gained about half a second. And the last big thing that really helped me find pace this week, and honestly applies across a lot of cars, is just being calm and slowing down your hands. I remember hearing, I think Alex Brundle, Julian Palmer and Sam Collins talking in some random FP2 session a couple years ago about steering speed or steering acceleration, basically how fast are your hands moving. Some cars love fast hands like SFL, MX-5, F4, P-Cup. Others really don't, like GT3s, GT4s, Spec Racer, TCR, and the LMP3, which falls firmly in that second category. And I consciously try to just slow down my turn in. And it's not just the turn in that's important, it's also the exit. And that's why we combine this V-shaped driving line with slow hands, so that we don't open up the diff on exit. And those are my kind of brief, kind of advanced top tips. But cutting back to the final lap, and it was a pretty dramaless race for me, just getting through traffic and putting in fast laps. Okay, I said no drama, but then I completely almost drop it on the final corner. I don't know why, I just felt like exploring a bit more of the curb. But yeah, once we're done drawing black lines across the pavement, we come through with P2, Tom has a very uncontested, strong P1, and Leo is right behind us in P3, incredible. A bit further down the field is Dario, who managed to recover to P6, which, considering everything that went on, he should be quite happy about, and as you can see, he is. Looking at the results, it's a mega gain for us, plus 48 iRating. Even bigger gains for Leo. Honestly, he should be way higher than 3.5k. And a bit further down the results, and you can see Dario came through with a pretty respectable P6 after the crash, so good damage limitation, especially considering Yentl's race ended then and there. Anyway, I hope that some of that drivel helps you guys out if you're just getting into the LMP3 or want to get a bit quicker. Thank you for watching the video if you made it this far. I am doing too much editing and these videos are coming out way too slow. Please let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you'd like to see, you know, race reviews, coaching, more stuff like this, more stuff like that, calling out Smurfs, whatever, because I don't know. I've got so many ideas, but I just don't know where to put them. Anyway, thanks guys, see ya.